for a while I've been thinking about writing and making a love story, and I was trying to figure out what that would be, like how to tell a love story in a different way, or in a way that I felt I could kind of organically get into it. And you know, and I think Squid was about divorce on one hand, but it was also about it was a coming of age story. It was about children, parents, and moving away from parents. I mean, I really thought of it as a movie about family, which I think about this one as well. You know, and it's told sort of in the cloak of divorce, and of course it is about divorce in many ways, but I was really focused on the love story of it, and in some ways in exploring how, in one way, when something isn't working, you kind of see it in a different way, or in a more clear-eyed way, and that was sort of, in that way, in looking at divorce, I could explore marriage.
I thought I'd seen the whole script, but I didn't see the whole script because Noah was writing it when we first started seriously talking about it. And I think, maybe you already touched on this, but I think probably part of your process was writing it with us maybe in mind, because that seems very much like when Noah and I were first talking, it was sort of my kind of commitment to it, I think, was the way that we were going to move forward together, and he would move forward writing it.
So every day it felt like a major event. So it's hard to say, you know, where they all felt like too soon in the schedule, when they all felt more emotional than, I think, even scenes that seemed pretty innocuous. You know, reading the text, reading just the script was. It's beautiful, but then when you really have to say say it and mean it, then it took, even scenes that I thought wouldn't be as difficult, when you have to take Eji, into consideration. You're looking at his face, who plays my son in the movie, or Alan, or Ray, or Scarlett, and then suddenly it's, obviously it takes a life that's happening in front of you, as opposed to a document that you're imagining what it's going to be like. So they were all emotionally challenging, I guess, in that way.
And that the experience would feel much like breaking open a play and being invited into the playwright's experience. And I loved that through not only the process of dinners and talking through this love story he wanted to build, but also in the process of costume fittings and all of us finding each other in rehearsal in different groupings, that we weren't isolated to our character or to our part of the movie. We were allowed to feel the breath through the film and what the narrative was he wanted to tell by experiencing each other's job at hand. And that I don't see in film, and I think it speaks to us all being part of the same organism somehow. Like, that's gorgeous to me, just that the process is taken with such consideration and depth and truth. So
I should. These people have pencils in their hands. The story, apparently, that I didn't know what the joke was. Noah explained it to me when we showed the movie at Telluride a couple of weeks ago. But apparently the joke goes, the woman's at her hairdresser's and mentions she's going on a trip to Europe, and the hairdresser says, "Oh, where are you going to go?" She says, "Well, we're going to go to Rome." "Oh, Rome? Well, I don't know Rome." "Where are you staying?" "Staying at the Hassler Hotel." "Hassler Hotel? No, they're rebuilding it. Don't stay there. That's terrible." What are you going to do there?" "We're going to go to the Vatican." Maybe we'll look. "No, the Vatican's crowded, tourists. Forget it. Don't go there. Forget it." So she goes to Rome. She comes back, and the hairdresser says, "How was it?" She says, "It was a great trip. It was wonderful." "How was the Vatican?" "Wonderful. We happened to meet the Pope." "You met the Pope?" "Yeah, and he spoke to me." "What did he say to you?" He said, "Where'd you get that fucking haircut?" But I just want to say about Noah. It occurred to me while we were talking, we talk about the script and we talk about how the actors came up with such brilliant performances. And watching Noah work, I really think an important part of it is his respect for the people he's working with. You don't get the impression that he has some secret way that he wants you to do, or that he doesn't think much of you, but somehow he'll make it work in the editing room. You get that feeling from some people. I worked with a director once who was wedded to the video monitor and the camera, way at the other side of a big sound stage. Noah's right there with you as you're acting. He's part of the performance through his sympathetic nature. But this guy was at the other end of the room, and he would scream out to me directions between takes, like he'd scream across the sound stage, "More subtlety!"